I want to ask you another question. Did you know that the average person unlocks their phone 80 times a day? Phone out, swipe across, unlock 80 times a day. Now that doesn't seem like that much, right? I'd say for my generation, the kids is even, but for my generation, I say 80 times. Do you think that's a lot? You think that's excessive? Think maybe I have an addiction? Right? 80 times a day. Now, you guys are going to go home self-conscious and start counting like 15, 16, right? You're going to go home and realize, oh my gosh, I look at this phone way more than I thought I did. Now, here's the crazy thing. For me, 80 times a day, maybe that is a lot. But in a 24-hour period, that's not that bad. But if you work that out to an average of getting 6 hours of sleep, whoo! You're talking about one time every 13 minutes. Every 13 minutes of your waking hours, I'm checking my phone. Have you guys ever been sitting around waiting somewhere and you have nothing to do, so what do? Right? It's so uncomfortable to just be left alone with our thoughts that we need something to take us away into Never Never Land. We need something that keeps this barrier between us and the very thing that we say we want. God, I want a closer relationship with you. But I don't want to put the work in. I don't want to take the time. You know, I was reading a book called First Things First. This isn't on my notes. I think I got time, though. We got about 30 minutes left. Y'all still with me? Okay. So I was reading a book called First Things First. This book it was an amazing book to help me begin to organize and order my life, to make sure that I put I'll say it this way, my big rocks. The things that I really say are important to me, like my time with God, like my family, like the ministries that I'm a part of, I began to track my time and see where my time was going. And then, okay, now I see where I'm losing time at to stuff that doesn't line up with what I say is the most important to me. So now what I'm going to start doing, and this is what I've begun to do, is put in my calendar by week the first things first. So if I have time, I saw the light bulb go off, Brother Dorian. Good work. Okay. So I don't know if I have time, man. We'll just say it like this. Put a jar on the table. Is the illustration I was giving you. Put a jar on the table, and you got these big rocks, and so you start to put them all in, right? And then they're filled to the top with the big rocks, and I mean like big, like boulder rocks, right? And so let's say you get 6 or 7 of these rocks in, right? You got 7 rocks. You ask the question, is it full? All right? Somebody might say, well, yeah, it's full. You can't get any more big rocks in. Well, then you get some gravel, some real little rocks. You start pouring those in, and they go down, and they fill out all of the space that was left. And then you say, is it full? And they're like, I guess not. You pour some sand in, and the sand goes down and fills all the crevices and the cracks. And then after that, is it full? Well, I guess not. You pour some water in, and the water goes down and fills everything in, right? And so this professor asked the question, what's the lesson here? And one young man said, well, you know what? The lesson is actually that I guess we can do a whole lot more than we think we could, right? We could fit a lot more onto our plate than what we initially thought. And the professor said, you're wrong. Really, the lesson is, how would you have got the big rocks in if you didn't put them in first? So often our life is filled with gravel, sand, water. Our bucket is full of stuff that doesn't amount to our big rocks. Our main agenda items, our main goal, the things that we say, I live for these, don't show up on our calendar. How's that work? So removing the log in your own eye, 80 times a day, checking our phones. If we really want a closer walk with Jesus, and not just the benefits, but the walk, we must take time for silence and solitude. We talk about a quiet time. And guys, I'm being transparent with you. This isn't for you. I think it's for you too. But this is for me. This is for my own life. This is God speaking to me. And so I wake up in the morning and I have a quiet time, and in the midst of that quiet time, an email comes and I respond to that real quick and go back to my Bible, and this happens, and I gotta, kids is up and then I come back to it, and I got all these other things on my mind for the rest of the day. And so I'll get into the Word, but I spend no time listening after. Okay, God, I hear you. I see what your Word says. Cool, I'm out. We must make time. I want a closer relationship with Jesus, right? We're all raising our hand. So let's talk about, how do we get there?